Hi, welcome to class 2 of the beginner series. So today we're beginning in easy seated pose, which is where class 1 ended. And what one of my students what she reminded me of this morning that I need to share with you is that if and when needed, and usually pain, okay, but particularly pain in the hips, will let you know that you need this. Or if it just feels like your legs, if you're sitting cross-legged, because you don't have to sit cross-legged, but maybe it feels like you can cross the legs, but your knees are hanging up in the air, hanging out in the air. So you can bring any kind of support that you need to underneath the legs to hold that space. So if you have already tried sitting on a bolster and some blankets and you feel that that's still happening, if you still have support behind you, but there is pain, particularly in the hips, then please give yourself that compassion, give yourself that support. That's what props are for, just to help support the body, okay? Then you use them to support underneath the thighs and the knees, okay? And how much support you need is just going to be up to you, your individual body, and its individual needs. Okay, from here we're going to come into the posture we're learning today, which is all fours. So, also known as tabletop pose. So when you're coming on to all fours, okay, traditionally you're on all fours, the hands come underneath the shoulders and the knees come underneath the hips. Okay, so two of the things that can really aggravate the body in this position, one is the knees. Okay, so for the knees, okay, and it doesn't matter if you used to be able to do this before or not, and then you want to punish yourself by putting yourself in this position because you used to be able to do it. Okay, you got to get over that. Give yourself compassion. Okay, I used to be in this tabletop position and I didn't need any supports or props, but now I do. So what I need is support under my knees because it will aggravate my knees to be on all fours. So I'll place a blanket under my knees and that provides a nice level of comfort for the knees, and then I can hang out in this position and it's fine. Okay. Another thing to notice is that when we are just in a regular standing position, look at the pinky side of my hand. Okay. When your arms are just hanging down, the hand naturally deviates towards the pinky finger, which is what my hand is doing here. So when you're bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, you want to maintain that same relationship that the bones have of the hand, bones of the hand with the wrist, the arms, which then translates all the way into the spine. So a great way to do that is just to notice how your hands fall and then maintain that as you bring the hands forward. Okay, when I do that, my pointer fingers are usually parallel with each other and then they can face forward, okay? So hands and knees. Now, the heel of the hand, you don't want to smush it into the floor. So I'm going to turn my hand this way. I don't even know if that gives you a good image or not. Okay. But the heel of your hand, you don't want to smush it into the floor, okay? You want to maintain the carpal tunnel. Let's see. No, not going to see it. There you go. So hold your hand up, okay? And when you look at the heel of the hand, there is this arch, an upside down arch, right? So that's the carpal tunnel. You have a whole bunch of nerves that run through the carpal tunnel. So you want to protect that. That arch is there for a reason. So imagine squeezing a pencil in the heel of the hand, okay? So that you are maintaining and protecting that carpal tunnel. Okay, so the hands are to the floor, okay? They're relatively underneath the shoulders, maybe a little wider, maybe a little further ahead. Just take your time to find where that is for you and your body. And then a gentle squeeze at the heel of the hands, if you're holding a pencil in the heel of the hands, okay? For most of us, that you'll automatically start to feel action in your arm muscles when you do that, other than just letting your hands just flop and be smushy on the floor. Okay. So you've got that. Okay. Another thing is the palm of the hand. Think of the palm, the very center of the palm of your hand, like a suction cup. Okay. And again, you're not trying to smash the center palm of your hand into the floor. Okay. If you're doing that, you probably haven't activated in the heel of the hand. Okay. And as much as you can, you want to feel the weight even across the hands, okay, so that you feel supported. The next thing, traveling up the arm, is having an external rotation of the shoulders. Now, not so much. I've got a lot of rotation in my shoulders. Well, I think. So that when I externally rotate my shoulders, that inside bend of the elbow faces forward, okay? So this right here is an external rotation. And this is an internal rotation. So you want to find that comfortable external rotation, a comfortable external rotation that helps you maintain healthy relationship between the bottom of the hand and the floor. Okay? So hands are underneath the shoulders, a nice comfortable distance, okay? And the knees are underneath the hips. Now, a lot of us with the feet will let the feet come together, okay? Keep the feet in line with the knees. Okay, so let's say that you've done that. You've done the activation through the heel of the hand. You feel the arm muscles working, but maybe you're feeling pain in the front of your wrist. Okay, so that could be that the hand simply doesn't comfortably come to this 90-degree angle. Okay, so here's what you can do for that. This doesn't work for everybody, okay? You can use blocks for your hands, okay? A lot of people like to have their fingers hanging off the blocks. So if you do that, have the blocks with this wide side of the block facing you, so you've got a wider base of support, okay? But everything else still comes into play. You're still working to gently maintain that tunnel at the heel of the hand, okay? But what it does is change the angle of the body, so you don't have as much weight spilling forward into the hands, okay? So, excuse me, that can help. Another thing that can help is to place a blanket down and then bring the heels of the hands to rest on the blanket, okay? The only thing that I don't like about using the blanket, so there are some things that they sell that are more of a firmer wedge shape for the heel of the hand. To be quite honest, I have not found any universal prop that works for everybody. So you get to explore and see what works the best for you, okay? What this does by placing the hand on the blanket is just like it did with the blocks. It takes weight out of it, but it doesn't ask the wrist to come to this position, okay? It changes that angle, so you've got more room, okay? And it may be that you don't need the blanket to be as high. It could be a little lower, or maybe there's something more creative that you can use to support the hand and the ankle. Okay. From your tabletop position is usually a movement called cat-cow, okay? So cat-cow involves a rounding of the spine towards the ceiling. So when you're doing this, you're working through the pelvis, okay? Where you're tucking the tailbone under, You're also moving the chin towards the chest. So your back rounds towards the ceiling. Okay. There's more happening as well to get to that position muscularly, but we will get, absolutely, we will be getting into that all in good time. Okay. And then the next movement is back bend. Okay. So the back bend, you're still maintaining that work through the hands, but this will bring your spine into the opposite direction of a forward bend, because it's a back bend. So exhale, and you're tucking your tailbone, tucking the chin, the spine is rounding up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and then you're coming into that back bend where the tailbone starts to lift and the chin reaches forward and up. So the exhale allows your spine to gently round up towards the ceiling, and the inhale moves in the opposite direction. So we will get more into breathing and the biomechanics, but one thing that I'd like to mention here is that in that exhale, okay, it's perfectly natural for the shoulders to want to internally rotate, which means that pointy part of the elbow will start to face towards the outsides, the sides, instead of the back, okay? When you inhale, it's very healthy to have that external rotation so that the bony part of the elbow begins to face behind you, okay? To come into a back bend and not give yourself that space through the chest for the movement is going to be this kind of thing happening, and then you're trying to do this, and all this is compressed. So if you externally rotate, then the chest gets to open. So the internal rotation of the shoulders is going to do this, and the external rotation will give you a broadness across the chest and the collarbone, and that promotes a nice healthy upper body for extension of the upper spine. Okay, so you've gotten your seated pose down. So this is coming into your tabletop position. So again, the knees are supported as needed. Knees needed, okay. And the feet are right behind the knees. So the legs are parallel at this 90-degree angle. And then the hands, you've got that pinch at the heel of the hands and a suction cup under the center of the palm. I'm not going for perfection here, okay? And you're maintaining that natural relationship of the hands with the arms, with the shoulders, with the spine. So once the hands come down, okay, you don't have to don't do this rotation so that you can get the middle fingers pointing straight ahead of you. That's a very common cue, and I don't like it. So, tabletop position. All right. You got it. You have made it through your second class. Congratulations. That's great. And each class, we're going to add a new pose. Okay. Then we'll focus on the breathing as we start to string everything together. And by the time we're done, you'll have this beautiful beginner's practice that you'll be able to do, and you'll know how to modify for your body and your body's needs. And that means that you'll have a safe practice, which is what the intention is behind giving you a beginner's series that isn't just throwing out a, hey, here's a beginner's class. Here are these really simple, basic poses for you to do. It's a one size fits all. And I haven't met a single person who exactly matches another person, not mentally, physically, emotionally. Every single person is unique. So please honor that uniqueness within yourself. Give yourself compassion. Take care of yourself. So just to give a little counter move to being on all fours, make fists with the hands. And no, you don't have to sit like this. I'm doing this because I was having technical difficulties, which means I had to move to my computer as another means to record class. And I just want you to be able to see me. So, and I think that might be how I go ahead and sit naturally that way. And hey, that, okay, never mind. I'm just going to keep on going. So fist with the hands, circle through the wrists, one direction, and then the other direction. Good. And wiggle through the fingers. Good. All right, roll through your shoulders. Move a little through the neck, through the waist. Good. And you did a great job because you showed up again for class. So if you did miss class 1, strongly recommend you watch that first. Okay. All of this already, you're like, I know that, I knew that, Then try a general all levels class. Okay. If you're not there, don't be there, because don't compete. Don't compete with yourself or anybody else. Meet yourself with compassion. And namaste, which means the light within me bows and honors the light within you. So namaste. Thank you for coming to this class, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, afternoon.